Hello, my name is Chris Beeler from Forevermore Music and Records, and you have just purchased the Invictas A Go-Go CD, and I want to personally thank you. And I've got a treat for you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio right now with me are 3 of the 4 original members of the Invictas, and I'd like to have them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Herb Gross. I did some of the singing, did a lot of jumping off the stage and messing around out there, and played rhythm guitar.
Hi, I'm Jim Kohler, better known as the Spank, and I was the most infamous bass player of this group. In fact, come to think of it, I was the only bass player.
And I'm Dave Hickey, and I pounded those drums for that backbeat.
These guys look great. I want to tell you, this music is 30 years old, and we got some great songs on the CD for you. We've got some brand new music that was recorded this summer. A Girl Like You, a song Herb wrote, and The Hump 95 for the 30-year anniversary of the song. Also, some live performances when the band got together in 1980 and performed at the Downtown Festival tent. If you guys could tell us a little bit about when you first started. When did the band start, and how did you guys meet?
Well, Dave and I lived across the street from one another. Actually grew up together, and we started the band about 60 or 61, Dave?
I think it was 1960, Herb, and there was 3 of us. My brother, Bruce, was a guitar player, and you were playing guitar and singing, and I played the drums. And we drove our parents crazy.
We certainly did, and got everybody in a lot of trouble. The cops were over the house several times, if I remember. And then I went to RIT, and that's where we actually found the rest of the band. Spank, you and I pledged the same fraternity together.
Right, pledged Phi Sigma Kappa at RIT. I was a printing student at the time. And at that time, the band had 3 guitars, and Dave playing drums, and Mark on guitar, and a fellow named Charlie Pasuito on guitar, and yourself, Herb. And Charlie was going to leave the group, and they needed one heck of a bass player. And that's where I came into the scene.
Well, and at that time, you didn't even play bass. You were a
banjo player.
And you learned bass to join
bass
the band.
Is easy. What the heck?
When you first started, you played at a place called Tiny's Bengal Inn. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, Tiny's Bengal Inn was a hot spot in Rochester, and all the college kids and everybody that was of age, of course, 18 years of age at that time, would come down to Tiny's Bengal Inn, which was down by the Coast Guard station. And this place had a legal limit of what, about 150 people?
Legally.
Legally. And how many would we get in there in a night?
The unlegal limit was about 300 or 400 people, I swear.
And they would be lined up for blocks. Blocks and blocks and blocks. In fact, Dave was playing in the band and turned 18 playing at that place. Right, Dave?
That's correct, Herb, and unfortunately, I don't remember too much about that evening.
You don't remember much of the 60s anyway.
Anybody that truly lived the 60s didn't. At Tiny's Bengal Inn, that's where you discovered, kind of started the song The Hump. Can you tell me how that came about?
Well, we were all very, very obviously interested in the opposite sex. And as we're playing there on the stage, this guy is doing these moves and grooves with this lady in front of the stage. And I don't remember who it was, but we said something, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm humping." And, well, at about that time, we decided that it was time to come up with a song and a dance. So I came back with some ideas to the band, and we started putting this song called The Hump together. And then we put a dance to it.
Yeah, and the song really is not about camels. Now, Dave thought for a long time it was a nice song, and he told his mom this song's about camels.
That's right.
And, of course, Mom didn't think I smoked.
Well, now, the song was, it got some national recognition, and it was also banned in certain markets, was it not?
Banned in a lot of markets. Banned in Boston. Made it onto the top 10 in Miami, though, and a lot of other markets.
It was number 1 in Miami, Herb.
It did make the Billboard charts at the time also.
Well, that's fantastic.
To our surprise.
To our surprise, yeah. In fact, when the song was initially recorded, it was recorded in Buffalo. And to do the song, to give it the feeling like it was live, because it wasn't, it was done in a studio, we took 2 cases of beer and a bunch of people that hung out at Bengals and went into the studio. And that was the result of it.
That's right. In fact, that was the only way we could really get it to sound the way we really wanted it to sound, was to get everybody
the energy
little
is
juiced
certainly
up.
there. I have another question here. When the band first signed to Sahara Records, a small label out of Buffalo, and first of all, I like to thank Leonard Silver and Steve Brody. If we didn't have their participation, this CD would not be possible. Can you tell me anything about Sahara Records?
Well, if I remember right, Steve Brody came down and, so to speak, came into Tiny's Bengal Inn one night. And Bengals was a place, as I said, it had 150 people as the legal limit. And the whole place would go back and forth and up and down when we were all playing there. And we had a blast. And there was somebody standing back in the corner in a suit or something like that. And that was Steve Brody. And he approached us about recording the record.
Doing a complete album.
Yeah. Well, we started with the singles, and then we went to an album.
Which was done in New York. The album was recorded in New York.
Can you tell us anything about that? I mean,
well, they flew us down to New York like on a Friday afternoon. And we went to the studio Friday night. And we were using at that time a 16-track recorder, which was a lot for the time, 16 individual tracks. Went into the studio, did it all night long, and we got out early morning, I guess, and in New York City, the bars stay open. We were down to go to the Peppermint Lounge, so we all went to the Peppermint Lounge to see Joey D and the Starlighters and Dave wanted to do the Peppermint Twist. And went back at about 2 hours sleep, went back in the studio the next day.
so the album was definitely very rushed, but I tell you, the charisma has withstood all these years. It sounds fantastic on CD.
Well, I think all of us had wished we, in retrospect, had more time to record that album.
Well, I think most of us wish we had the technology back then that they have today.
Right.
Most of the stuff was done pretty raw back in those days. They didn't have digitizers and a lot of the equipment they have today.
They couldn't modulate the voice and make us sing on key and all that sort of stuff either.
I'm not so sure we would have wanted the technology in those days. It would have magnified the flaws.
Well, it came out great. And as I look at the CD, I see a lot of these pictures here. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about it. You looked a little bit like the early English groups. What made the Invictas a little different?
Well, first of all, I think that we really liked the Stones and we liked the Beatles, and but we decided we also had to be ourselves. And one of the things that we came up with was this black hearse that had gold racing stripes and gold lettering on the side, and we all wore English riding boots, and we really wanted to create our own style.
The band wanted to be different, which we were.
Was there fan clubs? I mean, were there girls chasing you around?
Yeah, there was an Invictus fan club. In fact, I was telling Herb, I've got some of the original publications that were put out, and it's kind of fun to read through.
And when we played, we'd have to have police around the stage and hold the crowd back, and that it was a lot of fun. I mean, to us, it was a real kick, and it gave us some spending money at the same time.
Weren't you threatened to be arrested for indecency or obscenity for playing the hump one night by a police officer?
Numerous times. Well, one time in particular, I remember we were playing someplace, and some police officer came up and wanted us to stop the obscene dance that we were doing, which was, of course, the hump. And we asked the crowd what they wanted us to do, and they were ready to riot at that time. So the police gave up and they left.
Now, Herb and guys, we have brand new songs on this CD. Some were recorded in 1980. They're live tracks from the Downtown Festival tent, July 4th, as well as brand new songs recorded this summer that, Herb, you wrote, Girl Like You and the Hump 95.
Yeah, and we've got a new version of Long Tall Shorty and Twist and Shout on there, Baby Please Don't Go. So there's a lot of material on here that's never before been released.
This is kind of known as the Lost Invicta tapes.
Make a movie.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Herb and the Cruisers.
It's funny you should say movie because I used to take around an 8mm camera on a lot of our road trips. And we shot a lot of film, and I spliced it together into about a 20-minute, today it'd be called a video. And this goes back to the mid-'60s. We actually had a movie of the Invictas we would send out to potential
Should we
clients.
tell them the title of the movie?
Yeah, I think you should do that.
Absolutely.
Well, we call it It's Been Hard All Night.
But we won't hold it against you.
Do you still have that, by the way?
No, unfortunately, I've lost it someplace. It was great. It was really funny. Now, today, they're doing the videos. We were doing videos before videos, really.
That's right. That's right. And when we got the group back together in 1980, we did some video of the band back then, too.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. This has been fantastic. You home right now, listen to the CD. I hope you enjoyed as much as I have enjoyed putting this together with everybody at Forevermore Records. Thank you very much.